Hello, everybody. Well, welcome to Truth for Free video again. And I was gonna roll out a part two to my little blog yesterday that I called Church Planner Bye Bye. And the only reason I titled it that was because I just got too long-winded and I ran up to the end of my 10 minutes and there was nothing left to say. Well, I hope I got a few points out there. I actually tried to make a follow-up to that video last night. I was going to do a part two right away. Skype, or not Skype. I use Skype all the time. But YouTube crashed on me twice as I was trying to do it. And so I figured, um, you know, God must want me to just shut up and move on. So I won't rant about church planners today, but there is one verse that I mentioned yesterday, and I'm not going to talk about church planners, but one verse I mentioned, I didn't quote it, but it's in 2 Corinthians 11:3, and Paul's talking to the Christians, and he goes, I fear lest somehow, as the serpent deceived Eve by his craftiness, so your minds might be corrupted from the simplicity that's in Christ. I love this verse, and it means so much to me because one of the things I noticed when I left organized religion, my exodus, I wasn't trying to have an exodus really. I didn't come to this realization and go, I'm leaving organized religion. It wasn't like that. It was a process for me, and the Lord just over a process of time while I was still attending church started opening my eyes to things, started opening up my heart to things. And it was almost overwhelming at times because I grew up in church, Church was great. Um, and when God started doing this, it wasn't great anymore. And I couldn't figure out why I couldn't just sit and enjoy anymore. And sometimes I would leave service early and I'd be driving home and I would, break into tears and I'd say, God, what's wrong with me? It's like, what's wrong with me? Because I was seeing stuff that I didn't see before and I didn't know that I wanted to see it all. I just wanted to enjoy my, church life, and I couldn't do that anymore. And I actually had one friend that said he thought I had a demon, which broke my heart because I knew God was doing something in me, and trying to express that to your Christian friends who attend church and are still really into the whole machine of religion, they don't relate, so it makes it tough. They'll have their day, God willing, but and so you come out, and I remember all this anxiety, like, okay, I'm not going to church on Sunday. This is not good. So, the first thing I do is I got to find another church. So I start looking for another church. And I don't even know the people in some of these churches I went to, It was just somebody else's church. And so I go in there not knowing anybody, not having any criticisms towards anybody or knowing anything about them, and they have a nice worship service, some nice music and stuff. But my eyes were open and I would see the same things, and my heart would feel the same way, and I didn't know. I was like, I can't do this. So I pulled out from it, and it was tough, not going to church, not doing anything on Sunday morning was tough, I part of me really liked it because I really love my pillow. I still do. In fact, I need my pillow here shortly. But it was tough, the transition to leave that behind. And I'm actually getting to a point here. One of the things that's most difficult, I think, is learning to discern the voice of the Spirit. I found out that I didn't know how to hear God very well. And while I was in church, I didn't try that hard. I didn't have to. Because when you're in when you're in the church environment, um, you, there's so many voices around you. It's the way I describe it. You got the pastor with his Sunday sermons and Wednesday night sermons, and once in a while you might go for some counseling with the pastor. You got tapes and CDs and videos and conferences and Bible school and Sunday school and youth groups and men's groups and women's groups and retreats and seminars and it's just like Christian television and Christian movies and literature, and I mean, you just on and on. There is this pile of information for you. Everybody's saying, "Oh, this is what the Lord's saying for today. This is what you should do. This is this regiment you should follow. What you need to do is pray this way." And there's just all these voices. So, and it's easy to take comfort in that. And then when you come out and you step away from it, and it's like silence. You hear nothing. And it makes you anxious. I was like, I don't know what to do. And so you start looking for books to read, and you start looking for websites. Maybe some of you found this one that way. You're just hungry to know what's God want to do, and I'm not hearing him. I need to hear him, and it's a struggle. But I keep coming back to the simplicity thing because it's so easy. There are groups, even among these groups outside the church, the house groups, house church groups. A lot of times they're just carbon copies of the institutional church on a smaller, little more informal scale. But they're carrying the same mindsets they learned in organized religion into their homes. And instead of the church building being the edifice, it's now the house. And we still get caught up in all the same religious mindsets. But I get emails from people. I talk to people. They're like, "Well, what do we do? What's the Lord showing you? What are we supposed to do? We can't just sit around and do nothing. There's got to be something we do. We're supposed to be, occupying till He comes. It's like we got to figure this out." Well, I think we need to be very simplistic. One day at a time. Jesus said, "Just worry about today. Tomorrow has enough trouble of its own." There's so much emphasis in organized religion on this is this year's vision. We got this is what we're all progressing towards, and so every program and meeting and message is centered around this great vision we're all supposed to be working towards. And there's so much emphasis on we got to fulfill the Great Commission. We got to win the lost. We got to we need to read our Bibles more. There's just busyness. And there's no simplicity. And even our doctrines, they're so convoluted. We're cramming. We thirst for so much information, and we're on information overload. We've had it. Like me, 30 years in church, I've got more information than I know what to do with. I don't need any more. I don't need another sermon. I've heard every sermon there is to hear. That's not an arrogant statement. It's reality. I remember hearing, and I'm running out of time again, but a brother told this story about a farmer, and this gentleman came up to the farmer one day, and he says, "Hey, I've got a book here that'll teach you how to farm better than you've ever farmed before." Farmer said, "No." He says, "No, why? You don't understand. This could advance you years ahead of where you're at right now. This book can really teach you the proper way to farm most effectively. You can yield a much better harvest." Farmer said, "No." And this guy, he tried to sell him this book that would a really great tool that would help this guy, and he kept saying no. And he says, "You got to tell me, why won't you? Why won't you take this?" And the farmer said, "Because I'm not farming now as good as I know how." And I think most Christians can say that. We're not farming now as good as we know how. We have plenty of information, but we need to just take it simple, one day at a time, follow Jesus, and